is 8 o'clock on the East Coast. It is 5 o'clock on the West Coast. It is the 1st of August in the year of our Lord 2024. Season 15, Episode 4, 673 times. You have been welcomed to the Clubhouse Podcast, your one-stop shop for all things sports, entertainment, pop culture, pro wrestling, in that order. Welcome. My name is Rob. I am the executive producer of the Clubhouse Podcast, and I would like to apologize to anybody that listened to the show that we aired last Saturday. The audio was pretty bad, and it's because there were some tech issues that I had not anticipated. I did listen to about a third of it, and yeah, it's bad, but I do apologize. I've got more control tonight than I do then. But you're probably looking at the screen, or you're maybe hearing this on the podcast and going, Rob, why you by yourself again? I'm not. Now, Don is out on assignment. He's on his way home from his trip to Atlanta, which we'll hear all about next week. But there we go. My co-host, who is that way. No, dadgummit, I got to cross my arms that way. I'm trying to get to the arm crossing thing. He is my co-host. And a man whose shirt is blending in with his surroundings. He is Alex. Hey, man.
Well, I was looking in the closet and I was like, you know what? We're about to talk about something very specific that's happening right now. So I might as well grab my competition problem shirt just because.
And shout out to everybody at Asian Film Festival Dallas. Had a great time on Saturday night. I did get a shirt, but I have to wash it. So, but I got a great t-shirt from there. Had all the movies on the back of it. It's pretty cool looking. And the logo is on the front. And they did a great mural downstairs at the red carpet. Had some really cool guests on. Mark Walter stopped by at the end, and we talked for a few minutes. But we are going to dive right in because, man, we've got a lot of content tonight. Because it's almost time to change the guard up. We've got San Diego Comic-Con to talk about. We had Death Before Dishonor this past weekend. We've got a ton of stuff, so let's dive in. I have a series of questions for you, sir.
Oh, I may or may not have responses. I can't make any guarantees.
Do you enjoy sports?
Always.
What would you say if I told you there is a service coming that will basically be an aggregator / one-stop shop for almost everything sports?
You mean independent of the worldwide leader?
Correct.
Okay.
Well, sort of.
Well, I don't know what's coming, so you're going to have to let me know.
I gave you a name right before we went on air that you did not recognize.
Uh-huh.
Called Venue Sports. VENU, no E.
Oh, okay.
They are kicking off in the fall. They are boasting. It is sports focused. It is a streaming service that will give you ESPN, The Deuce, ESPNU, SEC Network, ACC Network, ESPN News, ABC Sports coverage, Fox Sports coverage, FS1, FS2, Big Ten Network, TNT Sports coverage, TBS Sports coverage, True TV coverage, and it will come with ESPN Plus, but it will not have the NBA package because of what we talked about last week with them going elsewhere.
Sounds like
how much would you pay for this service?
Well, see, I think there's two layers to this, though, because if you're asking me how much I'd pay for it right now, the answer is 0, because I already get all of those in other areas. But if you're telling me to go from a 0 point, like I have no access.
Mm-hmm. Now, this will be, they're saying, about 160 Major League Baseball games a year, somewhere in the neighborhood of about 80 NFL games. You're also going to have the playoffs, the college football playoffs.
It sounds like it covers all Madness channels as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tough one to answer because it's like peaking and valleying through the year.
Because here's
I feel like for me it would be about $25 to $30 a month for all that it includes, but I'm waiting.
I don't know that I would ever be from a 0 point.
That's what I'm. Yeah.
For somebody like you or I, this is a non-factor because there's no TV networks listed that I don't have as part of YouTube TV or Hulu or things of its nature. Now, if sports is all you do, the cost for this
a lot of that,
will be $42.99 a month.
Okay,
seems a little pricey to me.
It is, but I think you have to also scale into the what is an MLB.TV package cost. How much of Sunday Ticket is included? Does it include?
There was no mention of anything of those kinds of things.
But when you said over 80 football games, that kind of perked my ears up going, okay, that covers a lot.
But to me, that just means it's probably going to be the Fox game of the week because CBS was not listed.
That is true.
ESPN was, which means you'd get Monday Night Football.
I think NFL Network was in there.
Not listed.
Oh, it wasn't. Okay.
SEC Network, ACC Network, Big Ten Network. So you probably definitely wouldn't get Thursday Night Football because Amazon's going to go, hard pass. Because you're also not going to get the NBA stuff.
And you're not going to get anything from Notre Dame.
So if I could pay $20 more and have YouTube TV and pay $30 more and have YouTube TV and NFL Network and Red Zone.
Right.
I don't know that this is the right business model.
What I'm curious in this scope, have you done any cursory or deeper dive research on this?
This was just announced like 3 hours ago.
Okay.
I know that Fubo is filing an injunction.
Yes, that does not surprise me. What I was going to say is I wonder if this is more of a trying to find happy medium for, say, sports bars or things of its ilk to cover those without having to go through all the channels they don't care about.
Fair.
I'm wondering if that's more of the target for it rather than a person-to-person basis.
Buy a handful of Rokus and keep one receiver so you could get the other channels it doesn't cover.
Basically.
I mean, it's not a bad thought process. I just read that today.
I could see another injunction coming from certain leagues too. Yeah,
I mean, Fubo's the only one that's stepped up so far from the story I read earlier today.
Because that was leaning into Fubo's bread and butter, though.
Yeah.
Can I get an amen?
It's happening right now. We are one step closer to the NFL season as of right now.
I have to say something.
Please do.
If you were to say in the collectible sphere what your biggest theme would be, what would you say?
From a
collectible standpoint.
Funko Pops by far.
100%. Now, I have seen at least 3 or 4 different renditions. Like, I'm not going to lie. If you see me looking above the camera, I am in my theater. I do have the Hall of Fame coverage up above the camera. I don't have this set
up in here yet, but I will. My goal is to have this up and running by the time regular season starts.
So Monday Night Football Kickoff just did one that I found very interesting. Obviously, I can't hear it because I'm focused on this, and I have the monitors in. But they did the entire explanation of the new kickoff rule using Funko Pop players on a digital field. And I was like, okay, visually, I see what you did there.
I'm going to look that up on YouTube tomorrow because I'm here for it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sure they'll play it again during the game. All 12 minutes we'll watch. Okay, I may or may not have an answer again.
I think you will, because this is an opinion question. Who is playing in the Hall of Fame game tonight?
Houston and Chicago.
Okay. The Chicago Bears also will be the focus of
Hard Knocks.
Correct. Because of that, because they are playing in the Hall of Fame game, Chicago plays an additional preseason game, as do the Texans. So my question is, with the way we have seen Hard Knocks go, and we'll talk about that here in a minute, going straight from off-season into preseason, should HBO consider going forward the team that has the preseason Hard Knocks be one of the teams that's in the Hall of Fame game, because then you could go all the way through?
Now, that is a phenomenal question, and I feel terrible about what I'm about to say.
Please do. It's your opinion, brother.
It's not an opinion basis. I literally thought of this yesterday and intended to look up how many times a Hard Knocks team was part of the Hall of Fame game in case there was a correlation we just never noticed. But I dig it. I dig the idea because more often than not, the Hall of Fame game cycles through every team for various reasons. And to tell you the truth, I wouldn't be surprised if this Hall of Fame game was supposed to be the Giants and the Bears, because your aspect there being the Giants' 100th season. The Bears just had theirs not terribly long ago. Oh, we have our first kickoff. I apologize.
It's all right.
But they're doing a great job showing the field and breaking it down.
How is it with the new rules?
A lot of people look confused right now.
Because I know they are also experimenting with the Hawkeye cameras for first downs in preseason.
I did see that. So we have the setup where the kicker is on their 35. The coverage team and the receiving team are 5 yards apart, and it's quick to the 26. You know what? I think this might work. We said this when the XFL was talking about it. I think this may work. But one of the big things that was being discussed on NFL Network earlier was they didn't give teams anything other than the rules on this kickoff. So this is going to be a very exciting time to see how each team does things a little bit differently. Like one of the notations that you have here, what we saw with the XFL for the receiving teams was to stagger blockers. So you'd have one guy on the 30, the other guy on the 25, about 3 yards apart, and giving it some layer. Houston's receiving team literally had 2 back, and the remaining 9 literally straight across the 30. So we're going to see some difference and some variation. Obviously, we know that there's players that aren't likely to matter for fantasy or in the regular season playing tonight, but man, we get football.
And we know we're not
said a very different word.
And I know we're not getting Caleb Williams tonight, which I'm okay with. Like, it's the first game. Let's be safe. Yeah. What does Chick McGee always say? The games don't count, but the injuries do.
Exactly. And we still haven't gotten to that first big one that we get every year. And I just realized Houston has new uniforms.
Oh, do they? I'll be looking forward to see that.
I think they got rid of the navy blue.
Put a pin in that because we're going to talk about unis here in a minute.
Go for it.
I know that the NFL has other rules for Hard Knocks, like it can't be a team that made the playoffs last year, blah, blah, blah. But I really think that I really think that it should be one of the two teams. Now, if both teams have done it in the last, because I feel like there should be at least like a 3 to 4 year moratorium. Once you do it, you rotate out for a few years. Now, if both teams are in that moratorium, then you can kind of go to your next tier. But I like the concept of it being one of the teams that's in the Hall of Fame game, because if for no other reason, I like knowing the behind the scenes stuff to the Hall of Fame game, because there's a lot to that that aren't part of any other preseason game. So I'll be looking forward next Tuesday to the first episode of Hard Knocks with the Chicago Bears. And once that's done, Hard Knocks in season with the AFC North, which I really hope they roll right into, because normally in season doesn't start till at least the halfway point. So I think if we're dealing with 4 teams, I think this will give them a lot more content to work with.
I also wouldn't be surprised if we wind up seeing it debut earlier, because part of it being later in the season is they only have so much access based on league rules. And if you only have one team, the usable or interesting content tends to get a little bit thinner.
And that's why I'm saying I hope, but we don't have a break. We just do just like we did with Giants to the Bears. We just go dive right in. Did you see?
I think there'll be a few weeks, but
did you see what the Packers are doing in week 7?
I did not.
I cannot find a decently sized image of this.
Okay.
They'll be wearing their normal white jerseys, but they're wearing black and white helmets. It'll be black on white. You can Google it, but there's no good size image. I tried to find a decent sized image that I could put on the screen for everybody, but I tried to blow it up and then it just gets real pixelated. So the only thing that looks like it's changing is the helmets, because it looks like they're still wearing the yellow pants.
Actually doesn't look like black and white helmets. It looks like it is, let's say, two-tone, but I think it's that dark Green Bay Packer green and white. Okay. It looks like green, if you will.
Okay. I mean, I like it. It's not anything.
I was just looking at the Instagram post that is available at Packers, where they had a close-up on Jordan Love and a number of other players. And as you get closer to it, you're like, those are just the normal uniforms. Oh, I see, with the helmet.
Yeah. So as long as we don't,
how much of that is a response to Minnesota's Kings of the North uniforms?
As long as we don't get color rush again, I'm fine.
You know what? I was fine with color rush. I really was, but I didn't enjoy it.
But we'll start our coverage next week as we go into the preseason, and we're getting ready. We're going to have our full NFL preview coming up. Of course, it is August, so it's that time of year where we will be breaking it down. We might have a special guest or two join us for those shows. We'll give you fair warning, so that it may be on an off night so we can do the normal show. Moving into Major League Baseball, announced today, Mike Trout out for the season with another meniscus injury. I like this guy. I want him to succeed. And I heard this today, and because I'd seen the footage of him not being able to complete one of his rehab games. I didn't like the headlines of Mike Trout walks out. He didn't walk out. They knew what he was. It's not like he quit. He was injured.
At the same time, clickbait.
Yeah, absolutely. I really want him to succeed, and I'm sorry to hear this.
He really is this generation's Mickey Mantle, and nobody can tell me otherwise. Hyper talented, big, strong dude in center field who just can't stay healthy for one reason or another. Now, mind you, the medicine has changed a bit because Mickey Mantle had to play most of his career with no knee ligaments on one side. And unfortunately, Mike Trout keeps finding ways, or not finding ways, but keeps winding up with these situations where he keeps getting hurt, which is wildly unfortunate.
And speaking of things of that nature, you know that I texted you yesterday with a new YouTube rabbit hole I'm falling down.
Yes.
I found a guy that's posting, the video quality is atrocious, but you would expect it to be. He's finding all of the Siskel and Ebert worst of each year. Oh. And today I watched 92 and they had The Babe on that list. I was like, oh, I forgot how bad that movie was.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
Yeah. I'm really enjoying it because I'm seeing something like, oh, I remember that. Oh, yeah. A couple of them I've disagreed with. Yeah. Let's get into MLB standings in the American League East. The Toronto Blue Jays are 9 games below 500 and 15 back in the division. This division is still going crazy. They're 5.5 back on the Rays. The Rays now 2.5 back on the Boston Red Sox. They're 6.5 back on the Yankees, but the Yankees have now won 5 in a row, and they're only a half game back on Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
So
Baltimore dealing with a rash of injuries.
Yeah. Yankee fans starting to get the wheels back on things a little bit now. They're also 6-4 in their last 10. In the AL Central, Chicago White Sox put a pin in it. The Detroit Tigers are ahead of them. Detroit's 14 games out of first place. They're 5 games below 514 back.
Oh, it's going to get worse.
They are 8 games back on Kansas City. The Royals and Minnesota are both tied, but Minnesota has the tiebreaker, and they are 6 back of Cleveland. Let's see. In the AL West, the Oakland, we don't have a home right now. They are 20 games below 500 and 12 back in the division. Kind of a different dynamic there. They are 3 games back of Oh, hold on. Why am I not doing the thing? Wrong button.
I'm sorry. I thought that was a great one. Bonne nuit. Bonne nuit to you all.
Well, it is the Olympics.
It is true.
Law is 4.5 back on the Rangers. The Rangers now 4.5 back on both Seattle and Houston. They are tied for first. Houston has the tiebreaker. In the National League West, come on, do the thing. My browser's being very moody today. The NL West, the Colorado Rockies, they are 31 games below 500.
Ew.
And they're 24 back. What is happening right now? Let's see. Oh, shout out to Crystal giving us the smiley face. Hello, friend. They are 14.5 back on San Francisco. The Giants now 4.5 back on Arizona. Arizona's a half game back on the Padres. The Padres starting to close in. They're 4.5 back on the Dodgers. They've won 2 in a row. The Dodgers have dropped 2 in a row. In the NL Central, the Cubs 6 games below 500, 10 back in the division. I am really enjoying watching this. They are a game back of the Reds. The Reds now 3 back on. Yes, sir.
If you are the level of degenerate that certain people on the show may or may not be, and you had a bet on who the first touchdown scored of the entire NFL season would be, you didn't get it, I'm sure, because it's Tegan Quintariano.
Ooh,
a tight end.
The Pirates, who are still 6 back in the division, they're a game back of the Cardinals. The Cardinals now 5 back on Milwaukee. And, of course, in the only division that matters, the NL East, the Miami Marlins. God, love my boys. They are 12 games under 500, and they're 25 back in the division. They are 9.5 back of the Nationals. The Nationals 8.5 back of your Mets. The Mets starting to get the wheels on a little bit. 7-3 in their last 10.
Well, we can't. We're so close to sweeping series right now, and we just biff it on the last one.
You are currently a game and a half back on Atlanta. Atlanta now 6.5 back on Philly. Philly's dropped 4 straight. So
we're both racing to the wild card, even though we would be leading other divisions in like the AL West, which is frustrating.
Yeah, we'll start talking about wild card probably at the end of the month. But now it's time for North America's favorite game show.
Oh dear.
What is the run differential? Of course, for the Chicago White Sox.
And I am purely bidding against myself, so I'm gonna say minus 212.
Last week, I believe it was right around 207.
I thought it was 202.
It was barely over 200. Might have been 200. Yeah, I'll go with 202. The Chicago White Sox are currently 27-84. They are 16 games from the century mark. I believe in you, Chicago. Did I mention they're on a 17-game skid?
And I feel like I should have said 250.
They've lost 17 in a row, bro. That's a 243 win percentage. That's less than 1 in 4.
Quarter.
They are 40 games back in the division.
Oh, just say that part again. Just say it again, but slower.
They are almost double the games back that they have wins in the division. They are currently 20. Which number?
Just go.
Don't look at the run differential, dude. That ruins the game.
No, the game's already going, and now it's just the build.
Right, but if you look at it, then you lose the build, because the build is the reaction you get when I give you the number. 17 of their 27 wins are at home. They, of course, are 0-10 in their last 10 because they've lost 17 in a row. They are the only team currently in the American League with a triple-digit run differential. They're the only one.
Really?
The closest to them is La at minus 93. Then you have Toronto at minus 85. And then it drops to Oakland at minus 63. In the National League, You've got Miami at minus 144, Colorado at minus 175. From there, you drop to Washington at minus 54. Philly's at plus 102. The Yankees are at plus 118. Those are the only teams that are plus triple digits. The Chicago White Sox currently have a run differential of minus 229. But when you're on a 17-game skid, you kind of figure it's going to happen. But what that tells me is they're not losing by much, because you figure they've lost like 6 in the last week at the most. So you're losing by 2 to 3 runs a game.
I just noticed something else with this same concept.
Okay.
If you took every division in baseball and only combined the worst run differentials, so the negative run differentials, the White Sox would still have a worse run differential.
It's amazing. I can't even believe there's odds on them winning the championship still on the board. It should just say
mathematical.
NA. It should just say NA at this point.
It should just say really? Question mark.
Yankees have the best chance in the American League at plus 550, Baltimore at plus 650. In the National League, Philly at plus 450, Dodgers at plus 300. So, all right, let's get into TV talk and right into
get off of baseball, though.
Yes, sir.
Did you see the video of Juan Soto from this last heated series between the Red Sox and the Yankees?
Does not ring a bell.
So I like when we have positive stories. So
okay.
Probably the greatest rivalry, with all due respect to Giants and Dodgers fans, in baseball would be Boston and New York. There's a lot of, let's say, heated dialogue that's exchanged between fans and between players and all of that. Even after getting, let's say, jeered relentlessly through the entire series, Juan Soto wound up staying outside Fenway to sign and take pictures with all of the fans, just to be that kind of a guy. And you know what? Whatever contract he's going to get, he's going to earn. And I'm going to have something else for TV when we get to that.
Okay. And shout out to the Braves getting Soler back. Very exciting.
He was a key cog.
Now let's get into stuff we watched this week on television. The only thing I have is I didn't realize until yesterday I was 2 episodes behind on Hard Knocks. I thought I was only 1 behind. But I did watch both of them yesterday. I thought they did a good job. I really like what they've done with the opening.
Yes.
I love that. Big fan. I hope they continue it on with the Bears this coming week. Mm-hmm. But again, like, we knew how it ended.
Very true. But I will say, we talked early on when it started through the first couple of episodes where, as a Giants fan, that first week I was like, yeah, that's my team. The second week I was like, I don't know about these guys. As the season went on and getting through the draft, I felt very good, very confident about how that played out. Seeing the people and the discussion, hearing the discussions in the war room about, yeah, this is the guy. Yeah, this is the guy. This is the guy. And seeing that they, in almost every round, got the people that they were targeting, which is a good sign for a coaching staff.
I also like the end of the last episode, how they took them all out to the
tab. That was really cool.
I dig that, and I'm totally on board with it. But that's all I got from a TV standpoint, because everything else is wrestling.
So, interestingly enough, because football obsessive, I watched Receiver.
We talked about this briefly last week.
I have finished
good
the season. It is very good. So one of the things I didn't enjoy last year was that it felt very watered down's not the right word, but sterilized when they did quarterback.
Okay.
And I understand a large portion of that is just Kirk Cousins being the most basic white man to ever play football. But it was interesting to see because there's a lot of big personalities in these receivers, and it's easy to hear a narrative about one player or another, especially in the receiver scope, where it's like, oh, they're a diva, they're different things, they're that and they're other. And I thought getting a lot of the peaks that especially the second half of the season had, especially from like Devontae Adams while the Raiders were struggling, or Amon-Ra St. Brown getting overlooked for the Pro Bowl, even though he wasn't all pro, things of that ilk, and hearing them talk to their teammates, hearing them be part of the team was really kind of refreshing as well, to be like, okay, that's why these guys are. And then there was like a really, I guess, cute moment would be the best way to put it, where you're like, okay, I can see why somebody follows Brock Purdy. I know he's 12 years old, but they had it where last year, George Kittle's, and Sean's trying to call me while we're on air.
Hi, Sean.
But no, it's not happening. But you have George Kittle's grandmother made it to a game in San Francisco last year for her 100th birthday, and the entire stadium wound up doing it before they came out singing happy birthday to her. So this year for her 101st, because she lives in Arizona, she came out to a game where they were playing the Cardinals. And after the game, Brock Purdy went out of his way to walk up and introduce himself to George Kittle's grandmother, talk about what a cool moment it was last year and how he remembered it as a rookie, feeling like that was one of the highlights of the season. And I was like, that dude's a leader. That dude is a leader.
And I honestly believe what he has accomplished, we will never see again.
Oh, absolutely not.
To be Mr. Irrelevant and do what he's done, that will never be seen on any. It's just not possible. And it's going to be a great autobiography when he writes it
eventually.
Anything else?
No, actually, that was the main focus. I've started looking into other areas to pick up. I still got to jump in on the Star Wars. I know you were not a fan of the Acolyte, but I'm even Andor behind. The other one I've been looking at going back to is I've heard a lot of things about House of Cards, so I may be jumping into that here when I have free time. But for right now, it was very football focused and receiver.
All right. ABC announcing today that, as we know, Katy Perry will be leaving Idol. After this season, which is probably already wrapped up. They announced her replacement today. For the first time in a steady judge's seat, we have an American Idol alumni in the seat, as Carrie Underwood will be replacing the Katy Perry on American Idol. I dig it. Big fan.
Honestly, didn't even know she was on that show.
She won season 2.
But I've never watched it.
Or so season 3. Because season 2 was Clay Aiken, but she was season 3.
Not faulting anybody that enjoys it. I could never bring myself to something like that.
I was good until like season 5 or 6, and then I just dropped off. So,
and that was what 25 years ago, because it's been going forever.
2000. AMC has renewed Daryl Dixon for season 3, and the story will be moving to Spain.
Okay, do you know the parallel on that?
I do not.
So there is the original Walking Dead series follows Rick Grimes and people of that group. There is a offshoot, spinoff, whatever you want to call it, that is in the Walking Dead based in Spain, that is Rick's brother, who is isolated, that lives in Barcelona or some area like that.
Okay.
So I'm thinking there's going to be a crossover there, because if people are going to watch, there's plenty of meat on the bone.
Apple TV, a couple of announcements. A lot of this coming out of Comic-Con this past weekend. I've heard good things about the show Silo that they have.
It looks amazing if you've seen any of the previews. Plus, it's Rebecca Ferguson, and she doesn't know how to make something that's bad.
Season 2 will kick off November 15th, and Steve Zahn is joining the cast.
Wildly underrated. Wildly underrated performer.
He's in my wife's favorite movie of all time.
That Thing You Do?
Yep.
Oh, got it.
Mm-hmm. And a Boyd Holbrook, you can look him up. He is joining season 4 of The Morning Show. So they're stacking the deck from a cast standpoint on that.
Boyd Holbrook, it's interesting timing, especially when you look at what is taking over the world when we get to movies. But having that exact same concept, because he was one of the main villains to Logan.
Yes. I'm readjusting my cameras again because my laptop blacked out on me again. So you can see my shirts
and
over
in
there.
case you thought we were joking about the Funko Pops.
Yeah. We also have casting news from Disney Plus for this second season of Percy Jackson and the Olympians. Shout out to Edge for making it to the San Diego Comic-Con.
Apparently he wasn't supposed to. He just showed up.
It's because he's Adam Copeland.
He also isn't doing much right now.
Dimer, Diemer, known for the half of it, Under the Bridge, and Little Brother. He will be playing Tyson. So, Fox announcing they have renewed Crapopolis for season 4. I didn't realize we already had 3 seasons of that show in the books. And
I watched the first season. I enjoyed it. I have not been back to it. A lot of talented people.
Did you see Family Guy has announced their Halloween special? It's going to, then who the guest is on that, playing the Pumpkin Contest King?
No.
Glenn Powell News. Glenn Powell News. Glenn Powell News. Because Glenn Powell.
As long as he doesn't have to cry, I will stand on that hill forever.
We have season 2 of Gremlins. The season 2 will be called The Wild Batch.
Okay.
And Simu Liu will be a series regular.
Oh.
It's the animated they're doing.
Yeah. But you put Simu Liu in and you pique my interest.
They have canceled Clone High after 2 seasons.
Okay.
I have seen the trailer for The Penguin. It will kick off September 19th at 9 Eastern. I am intrigued.
Well, do you have a note about this as it pertains to a not canceled project that comes up after it?
Not sure what you're talking about.
It would be in movie talks.
Okay. So we'll hold off on that.
Well, that's why I was saying if you have a note. If not, just throw it to me. I got you.
I might, because I got a ton of stuff here.
That's also fair.
Hulu has canceled Life and Beth after 2 seasons. So if you're watching that show, you can binge the whole thing. NBC and Peacock announcing that they will premiere The Fall Guy on August 30th. So if you want to check it out, I'm hoping they have the extended version available, because I know they
allegedly they do. Allegedly, that's I believe. So. Yeah. But I think they said that if there's enough interest in the Blu-ray, that will drop later this year, like closer to Christmas.
Maya Rudolph will be playing Kamala Harris when SNL returns for season 50.
Because
but Punky Johnson is leaving the show. I like her a lot. She's very, very funny. And then last week talked about Dermot Mulroney joining the cast of Chicago Fire. Katie Strickland will be playing his ex, who still kind of has a thing for him.
Okay.
And it's Kadee. That's how you spell her name. I'm not even going to bury the lead on this. Netflix, I need you to hear me. It is August 1st. You promised me heels 3 days ago, and it ain't there. Where is heels? All caps. Because I even Googled it, because I went to my Netflix app, and it wasn't there. And so I Googled it, and everything that Google had up to May said this was happening July 29th. It is August 1st. Where is heels? I need it now, and I need it uploaded. Go ahead.
I need to devil's advocate this thing. Nothing Netflix said was July 29th. That was inferred by everybody based on other aspects. There was no official statement that it was the 29th.
They didn't deny it.
Why would they?
I need it now. Get on this.
You know,
Netflix.
when you were talking about burying the lead, I thought you were, and said Netflix, I thought you were going in a very different direction.
There's a couple other headlines. their Blood of Zeus, one of their shows, they're going to end that after season 3.
Okay.
It's an anime thing, I believe. And they also announced today that season 2 of Squid Game is going to drop the day after Christmas, season 3 next year, and then that's it.
Oh, it was never anticipated to be longer than one season. It was just way better than it had any business being.
Paramount Plus, more casting. This Starfleet Academy is going to be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because we talked about SNL just a moment ago. SNL alum Gina Yashere is going to be on it as an instructor. We're also bringing back Tig Notaro, Robert Picardo, Oded Fair, and Mary Wiseman in their previous roles. And Holly Hunter's joining the cast.
What is Holly Hunter not joining?
Dude, that's stacking the deck. I'm going to have to go back and watch Discovery just for this and another headline that Paramount Plus announced this weekend.
But I'm unfamiliar with Robert Picardo. Is that a real name? He just thought Star Trek is a destiny.
He was the doctor on Deep Space Nine or Voyager. I think it was Voyager.
But Picardo, you get what I mean.
Yeah,
It's low-hanging fruit, but I'm curious if it was chicken or egg.
It came much later. It was after he was on Voyager. He was the doctor, but the doctor was a hologram at the same time, if I remember correctly. But he was great. Big fan.
Good.
He's also on China Beach. And he was in Inner Space. Great movie. So on Discovery, this is why I need to go back and watch Discovery, because Starfleet Academy, I don't know where it sits in the timeline. Michelle Yeoh played a bad guy by the name of Emperor Philippa Georgiou. They are focusing an entire movie on her character called Star Trek Section 31. That's going to be out early next year. I have seen the trailer, and I am intrigued. I actually found a YouTube video that had all of the trailers that they show, all the ones that they could get their hands on in 4K of all the trailers for Comic-Con. There's a couple I know they didn't, but you got that going for you. Prime Video, tons of news from Prime Video this week. Season 2 of Lord of the Rings of Power will debut August 29th. I am still stuck in the second episode. Man, that thing's slow.
Yeah, it's hard to watch, to be honest.
The Boys getting another
spin-off. Books. I mean,
yeah. Oh no, I read them too. The Boys with another spin-off coming called is it Vout? VOUGHT? You are or is it Vought Rising? Will have Soldier Boy and Stormfront with Jensen Ackles and Aya Cash.
And in case you were wondering with that aspect, I was giving immense amounts of grief during the last plea because during Money in the Bank, because that was how they were playing it. And Michael Cole didn't look into pronouncing Vought correctly whenever it was. So that's why you may have thought it was Vout. Little research.
I didn't know. I just took a shot in the dark, and that's why I asked you.
Yeah.
Season 2, and it's Gen V, correct?
Yes, sir.
Season 2 is coming next year. They announced that this weekend.
It was supposed to be later this year, but obviously with one of the main characters in the real world having an untimely passing, they had to go back and adjust.
They have ordered 2 more seasons of Has Been Hotel. I thought this was a Netflix thing. It's actually a Prime Video thing. I've learned all about Has Been Hotel in about the last couple of months. This is an anime series that is not even close to safe for the kids. Somebody at the karaoke party at Greater Austin sang one of the songs from that show, and it was colorful, metaphor laden, if you will. The Donald Finn from the Wheel of Time series they're doing, he's joining their Young Sherlock series that they're doing. I'm very excited. I'm waiting for a trailer on that. And they're actually Prime Video is actually going to be the place that you'll get the new Pop Culture Jeopardy. And they've announced the host this week.
I was going to ask if you had been looking into it because I have yet to see somebody who can come close to your title when it comes to pop culture.
It's apparently it's a team tournament. So,
Mhm.
but Colin Jost will be your host. And I like the Colin Jost.
Because he needs something else to go with.
Yeah. He's also been doing some stuff.
Colin Jost is Michael Chase setting him up for failure.
He's been doing some really funny stuff with the Olympics too. Batman Cape Crusader, which dropped today, has been renewed for season 2. I have not started it yet. Invincible renewed for season 4, but I'm very interested. Did you see who's voicing the Penguin in Cape Crusader?
I did not.
Minnie Driver. They're throwing you a curveball.
Okay. Love her.
So I am intrigued by this show. Like I said, it dropped today. I haven't had a chance to start it yet, so I may start watching that tomorrow and catch some of it this weekend. DVDs and Blu-rays on both fronts. Nothing of note this coming week. I was a little shocked. We do have a couple of quick music headlines. One of my favorite bands that I think more people should know about is called the Black Moods. They are releasing a documentary very soon called 500 Days of Silence, which is not only about their journey as a band, but how they were just starting to get on the rise and then COVID hit.
Oh.
And so it's not only about them, but like Sammy Hagar's in this, Corey Taylor is in this, all these other bands talking about how COVID affected them too.
I was going to say, I believe we have to refer to Corey Taylor by his full title, but we don't say one of those words on this show.
Yes. But yeah, I'm very much. They haven't announced where and when yet.
Laughing slice of pizza ever.
Yes, and the trailer dropped today. I've reposted it on my Facebook page, but follow the Black Moods. That's rock and roll, brother, and I am a huge fan. Discovered them on Bob and Tom. And Britney Spears' memoir, The Woman in Me, that came out a few years ago, Universal has the rights to it, and John M. Chu is going to direct it.
Interesting.
So he's actually directing Wicked. So let's get into movie talk and stuff we watched this week. Movie edition. The only thing I have is the movie you and I went and saw last Friday.
Yes, and
Deadpool and Wolverine now have the 6th biggest opening ever. I forgot how much money Endgame made in its opening weekend. Nothing's ever going to touch that. No. But you and I both talked after the film, like we were, as much as we hate to say this, I'm glad we didn't go to a screening of it because I would not know how to review this film without spoilers.
What is it when it's a minefield? It's all mines.
Take box office numbers off the banner because we don't have that anymore. Okay. But I loved this movie. I want to say right now, I mean, where does it sit for me on my list? It's top 5 right now for me of the year.
I have not done my list yet just because I have so many I need to catch up on, but it's definitely going to be high up the list. Like the number of things and the number of times I openly, loudly swore and laughed at the screen, or singing to myself and doing a certain choreography in the my favorite opening to a Marvel movie since Guardians, if not longer.
It is wonderful.
So great.
I hope that if you haven't seen it and plan on it, that you have not had anything ruined for you, but it's kind of hard at this point to avoid spoilers.
It's impossible.
But we're not doing that on this show because we want you to enjoy this film for what it is. It is wonderful. It is all of the things. I'm going. I got to go again. I just don't know what I'm going.
For me, this is going to be another one of those because I want to see it multiple times. I'm looking for different formats, like jumping into IMAX. There is at North Park an IMAX 3D I want to catch. The other one would be using the XD at Cinemark, seeing if there is the Screen X in Plano, or doing the immersion 4D theater.
Did you see what your premium is? If you, I think it's in the XD at Cinemark. It's one of the Cinemark formats. They have an adult activity book.
No, I did not.
I can't even imagine. I got that email hit me today. It's like, I can't even imagine what's in there. Is there anything else we've got something coming up later that I know you watched this week, but was there anything else you wanted to talk about at this point?
Are you referring to the review?
That we'll do when we get to new releases.
That's what I was confirming, that you wanted to save it for then.
Yes, please.
That's the only thing at this point for me from a movie standpoint. Okay.
Your big announcement from San Diego Comic-Con. We have Avengers Doomsday set for 2026, Secret Wars a year later. It is not going to be the Kang Dynasty, but it will be Doctor Doom. It is Robert Downey Jr. You had an item on this that you wanted to bring up on the show, so we go live to Rockwall, Texas.
So there has been a lot of pushback regarding Robert Downey Jr. being cast as Doom, and I understand it. I'm sure Rob does as well, but Robert Downey Jr. has proven metal that he can do what he wants. Now, the big note I had was the very first outing in this MCU was Iron Man. You
Correct.
lost your number 3 from that movie in Terrence Howard being recast going forward. But the MCU as a whole has had a lot of good luck with actors being available and continuing on with the franchises.
Agreed.
Do you think that the way this blew up with Jonathan Majors, for its own reasons we won't go into, had the executives going, okay, we need to find people we can trust to be available and do a great job, and they just thought, well, we're not using Robert Downey Jr. anymore, and now that he's a little bit older, maybe it fits better, since it'll be possibly a lot like his conversations with Jarvis from the Doom aspect, where he's not physically there, but more VO, and Doom happens to be CGI'd or something of its ilk. But do you think that the fact that we're starting to get more recasting of people that have been in there, because this isn't the first, it's just people being upset because it wasn't the fantasy booking that they wanted. And yes, I agree. Cillian Murphy would have been great, but I feel like there's 2 levels. Number one, Marvel is like, we need people we can trust after the whole Jonathan Majors debacle. And 2, why not?
Here's my
Robert Downey Jr. is just like, I won my Oscar. Let's go back to making millions and millions of dollars.
The main sticking point of him doing it was the return of the Russo brothers.
Mm-hmm.
That is out there. It's
to the point of equal compensation for all of them.
Correct. I don't know how I feel, because in a world where the multiverse exists, as long as his Victor Von Doom, or whatever they're going to call him, Tony Doom, Victor Von Stark, whatever, as long as he is not the 616 Doom, I'm okay with it. Because with the multiverse, you can do whatever you want and say this is, like we saw like in Deadpool and Wolverine. But I like the fan theory that he is a variant, and then that ushers in the real Doom, which I would hold on to a Cillian Murphy or a Keanu Reeves in that vein. But him as Doom Prime, we'll call it, I don't know how I feel. Because would he be amazing? That man, as Kevin Smith once said about Ben Affleck, if I was going to redo Jaws, he could be the shark if he wants to. I'm good with whatever Robert Downey Jr. wants to do. Been a fan for a long time. However, I feel like there's more to this.
And you and I have talked about the whole Tony Stark variant as Doom before True Doom shows up. And I was thinking to myself, is because Cillian Murphy was such the name over and over again, how meta would it be, or do you think they would care to be this meta to have Cillian Murphy be, as you put it, Doom Prime coming in to replace Robert Downey Jr. based on them both being Oscar winners from Oppenheimer, where a certain Cillian Murphy's character was kind of the end for Robert Downey Jr.'s.
Well, and I'm on board with it. I would love to see, like, the swerve I would see is they pitch Downey as Doom Prime.
Mm-hmm.
But in Doom's constant meddling of things, he creates the rift that ushers in Doom Prime, who then destroys him because there can only be one. And
Highlander
that's how
rules.
we do it. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I think there's more to this that, of course the internet's going to do what the internet does, but I believe there's more to this, and we've got 2 years until we get there, because do I believe we'll see him? Well, I think we're going to actually see him next summer.
Oh, I agree. A
because
post-credit.
Yeah. That's a trailer that hasn't made it out yet. I'm a little upset about that. Speaking of Kevin Smith, he announced that we will be getting Jay and Silent Bob's Store Wars. So we've already had Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Now we have Store Wars, where Jay and Silent Bob will be running a dispensary and a competitor comes in. That's what we know right now.
Okay, fantasy book. Who do you want to be the competitor? Do you want it to be somebody wildly unlikable or somebody that you can't root against?
Ask me off air.
Okay.
Did you watch In a Violent Nature?
The new one? Not yet.
There's only one.
Well, there's another movie in the past using that title that is unrelated.
Oh, the one that came out this year. Basically, it's a slasher done from the POV of the.
I'm talked about it on air. Yeah,
I'm filling in those that are unfamiliar. We are getting a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
That is happening. Speaking of things of its ilk, another trailer I have seen, and I hate to say hard pass because of what it is. Apparently, we've got a new Hellboy movie, and it's done.
And it doesn't look good.
It's called Hellboy the Crooked Man. It takes place in the Appalachians in the 50s. And it is a straight up bona fide horror film hard pass.
Yeah,
I've seen the trailer. It stars Jack Kesey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as much as I loved Ron Perlman, I was also the big defender of the David Harbour because it was closer to the source material. This, while being in that vein of being close to the source material, I'm going to need to see more before I can sign off on this, because we've had 2 great Hellboys, and Jack Kesey's just looks odd to me.
Well, if you look at him in the comics, he's not the behemoth that the other 2 are, so it kind of fits a little better. But I'm not saying because it's just straight up horror. Hard pass.
Yeah, the face looks more like the comic. I will give it that too.
The Fantastic Four First Steps officially has a release date of July 25th of next summer. So that's what we were referring to earlier. Colin Farrell announced will return as the Penguin for the Batman 2. So I'm very excited about that. Go ahead, sir.
That was the thing I was wondering if you had the note on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you do?
Well, just that he's returning. That's the note.
Okay. So we have the time frame for the Penguin series as well.
We pick up TV talk.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is leading directly into the second movie.
Oh, so it's going to take place between the 2?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
so it picks up right after the end of the first one and will apparently run the entire way up to the Batman Part 2.
Oh, nice.
No confirmation from Matt Reeves yet, but he has been teasing that it may be Court of Owls.
Yes, if they do it right.
If they do
The
it right.
Kevin Costner Horizon is not going to, the sequel's not going to get a US release because it did not do well. But it's going to, but it's still going to be part of the Venice Film Festival, and Netflix may pick it up.
Yeah.
So that's the latest on that. We talked about SNL earlier. Jason Reitman's film about the leading up to and airing of the first episode of SNL. It's called Saturday Night. It will hit theaters on October 11th, the week before your birthday and on my anniversary.
Nice.
So I'm looking forward to that. And in the strangest news of the week, Lin-Manuel Miranda and Elsa Davis are working on a musical adaptation. Okay. The album will be executive produced by Nas and produced itself by Mike Elizondo.
Mm-hmm.
I am intrigued by this because it is a musical adaptation. Ting, 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 ting. Warriors. Out and play. Mm-hmm. So
I still can't believe that was all improvised.
It's going to be a thing. So that was announced today.
God, I hope it's more true to the source material and doesn't become a very bizarre version of West Side Story.
Lord only knows. Movie new releases and places you get movie new releases today. The new M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong song, movie Trap, which I am hearing people are saying he's not back, but he's curving it around.
I am very much looking forward to this one. The idea that it is a unique concept, but did we ever talk or did you know about what it is within the movie within a movie? Do you know that concept from M. Night Shyamalan?
The only thing I know is that basically here's what the IMDb says. A father and his teen daughter attend a pop concert only to realize they've entered the center of a dark and sinister event. One of my personal favorites, Allison Pill, is in this, who I'm a big fan of. Josh Hartnett, Haley Mills, Kid Cudi, Tim Russ is in this. Jonathan Langdon. But I didn't know there was a movie within a movie because I thought it all just takes place at the concert.
No. That's the gist. I heard an interview with M. Night Shyamalan where he was talking about how he had never done a concert. So what he did was set up as if he was filming a real concert, and actually did, because it was a real artist, real concert through and through. For the sense of authenticity, he actually had an entire crew working on just filming the concert, so it was as natural as possible, and then another crew that was filming the movie around that concert.
Oh, wow.
So I will be curious to see if there is an extra on a Blu-ray or an entirely separate Blu-ray for, I am struggling to remember the artist's name, so I do apologize for that.
We also have the adaptation of Harold and the Purple Crayon with Zach Levi this week. Inside of his book, adventurous Harold can make anything come to life simply by drawing it. After he grows up and draws himself off the book's pages and into the physical world, Harold finds he has a lot to learn about real life. I've seen this trailer and I'm on board. I'm looking forward to this. Lil Rel Howery is in this. I did not. Jermaine Clement is in this. Alfred Molina is the narrator. Let's see. I think that's all I recognize here.
How funny is Alfred Molina's career? It's so awesome.
Dude. We also have Sing Sing, which I'm really bummed I missed this screening for this the other night. I just ran out of time. Divine G, imprisoned at Sing Sing for a crime he didn't commit, finds purpose by acting in a theater group alongside other incarcerated men in this story of resilience, humanity, and the transformative power of art. I want to say this was at DIFF, and I missed it there too.
I don't know if it was at DIFF, but I the moment I saw that it was Coleman Domingo in this, I was like, this is on my scope.
We also have a movie that Alex has seen and reviewed at www.theclubhousepodcast.com.
That's our website. But
it is called App. Go ahead, sir.
Oh, no. There was a delay.
Oh, okay. This is another one. I wanted to get the screener link, and it just time got away from me. I am very fascinated by this. Fassbender's in it.
Yes, and it is so many different things all at once, and it works better than it has any business working.
Do you want me to read the thing, or do you want to just tell people to watch it?
I would tell people to watch it, but I think it's important that you read it because number one, okay. I did not realize this was a real, legit rap trio who has been active for over 7 years. Go for
it. When fate brings Belfast teacher JJ into the orbit of self-confessed low-life scum, I can't even pronounce this.
Nisei
and Liam Ogg, the needle drops on a hip-hop act like no other. Rapping in their native Irish, they lead a movement to save their mother tongue.
But it's funny because that is all I knew going into it. And I was like, oh, this is really interesting. And then seeing the movie and I'm just like, this is like we have said about certain things like Deadpool and Wolverine. We have said it is everything, meaning that it was everything we wanted it to be. When I say this movie is everything, I mean they literally did everything. There's moments where it almost feels like a suspense thriller, horror movie, outright comedy, drug romp, claymation, random. Like there's parts of it that I don't think I even include this in the list because it got too long. That there were parts of it that almost felt like Into the Spider-Verse. It was so many things and so many different points. And it was so much fun. And I like it shouldn't be as good or as enjoyable as it is.
It is the first Irish language film to premiere at Sundance.
Mm-hmm.
So
and won the audience award. So
we also have The Firing Squad. This is a faith-based film based on the true story of 3 Christian prisoners who face execution in a third world country and how their joy in Christ results in a stunning conclusion. Cuba Gooding Jr. is in this. Kevin Sorbo is in this. Looking to see if there's anybody else. Eric Roberts is in this. That's all of the names.
Roll out.
Hey, everybody got to work. We also have a movie. Oh, I keep typing on the wrong stupid keyboard.
First world problems.
We have Coup! Exclamation point. This has Peter Skarsgård. Billy Magnuson is also in this. On a seaside estate in 1918, a mischievous cook leads an uprising against his wealthy employer. So there's that.
Saw the episode of Bob's Burgers like that.
We have Experiment 77 coming out this weekend. I'll have that for you here in just a minute because it's taking its time. And we also have The Investigators. Experiment 77. Let's see. A doctor running a women's behavioral center struggles to keep her patients stable when one of her colleagues is found dead and her own mental well-being begins to deteriorate. So there's that. Another one I will not be seeing.
Now, the other one you were saying, was that The Investigators or The Instigators?
Is it The Instigators?
The Matt Damon one?
Why? Yeah.
It's Instigators. Yeah.
Yeah, you are correct. We have Matt Damon, and Casey Affleck, 2 robbers who must go on the run with the help of one of their therapists after a theft doesn't go as planned. I'm hearing mixed reviews on this. Jack Harlow is in this. Mm-hmm. Again, Alfred Molina. Let's see. Gronk is in this. Ron Perlman, Toby Jones. All right, I'll check it out. I think it's Apple TV is doing this. Yeah, Apple TV Extreme. Oh, it's next week. It's the 9th. For some reason, I saw a bunch of reviews today. So maybe it's getting a 1 week. Well, they might be doing like a 1 week theatrical.
Maybe.
So, again, nothing of consequence on Blu-ray or DVD. One quick tech talk note. I found out this week when I was watching, and it's never happened before, but watching YouTube TV, the audio would just go away. Couldn't figure it out. So I Googled it. If you have this problem, and it's only on YouTube TV, so if you have this problem, go into your settings, then go to audio, what's called 5.1 audio, turn it off, and it fixes it. And it doesn't affect your other devices. So you got that. And now, this. It is time for the Cheap Popcast, your one-stop shop for all things professional wrestling. Told you we had a lot to cover this week. We don't have as much wrestling stuff, but we've got some things to talk about. CMLL has announced that their 2024 Women's Grand Prix will be October 25th. Have you heard of this, Alex? I've never heard of it before.
I have not.
This is a 20-woman elimination match that will have Team Mexico versus Team World. The men's is actually this month, and it will be on August 23rd. The only person that's been announced at this point is Tessa Blanchard, and she won it last year. The men's Team Mexico will be Mascara Dorada, Volador Jr., Esfinge, Euphoria, Valiente, Templario, Mystico, Titan, Ultimo Guerrero, and Atlantis Jr. Team World will be Claudio Castagnoli, Kyle Fletcher, Davey Boy Smith, Mansoor, Yoda Tsuji, Ikaro Kwan, Flip Gordon, friend of the show, Robbie X, Akira, all caps, and Rocky Romero.
That's a pretty stout
stout
roster.
We found out NWA 76 will have the Burke Invitational. It's a gauntlet match. The only 3 people announced so far are Tiffany Nieves, Misty Marks, and Hollywood Haley J.
Which Hollywood Haley J, if you watch the wrestlers on Netflix, tied to OVW. So we haven't had any alert that she has signed to NWA, but it may be a sign.
And the winner gets a shot at the women's world title because that's why it's called the Burke Invitational. They have also signed Daisy Kill to an exclusive contract.
Tonight, how that pops up right as they win tag titles.
Yeah. Tonight on TNA, we will have the wedding of Steph DeLander and PCO, and that should go without a hitch.
They always do, don't they?
Yeah. And
we might have to retract that. The last wedding did go well. The last one did go well.
Pluto TV is announcing they're going to be launching a channel for WoW.
Good.
And you'll be able to watch all of this iteration of WoW. They'll be the first 2 seasons. Season 3 kicks off September 14th. I did see today on social media, Sophia Lopez said they are filming now.
Nice.
So, and Reality Wrestling are going to crown their first women's tag champs at Summer of Champions, but I think that happened last month. I don't know because it's usually in July. And they showed a show 2 weeks ago where they presented a check to a guy that was dated in April. So Survivor Series has been announced November 30th in Vancouver. So the second major this year in the Canada.
Yeah. But they spread it out.
Yeah. It'll be at the Rogers Arena. That was announced today, so we'll let you know when tickets go on sale. SummerSlam is this Saturday. I will be watching on Sunday. Holy cow, dude. 3-hour pre-show.
Nope.
It starts at 4 Eastern. That's a lot of time in Ohio for you.
Nope. I would say hard pass, but it's Ohio, so flaccid's the best you get.
Like 3-hour pre-show for SummerSlam, really? For a card that's not real deep?
It almost makes me wonder if they're going to try and throw randomness on there. But knowing them lately, they won't. It'll just be redundancy, highlights from the Raws go home, highlights from SmackDowns go home. It's just not worth 3 hours.
There are 7 matches on this card right now. 7.
That's fair for a major.
All of them but one are title matches. So I'll give them that.
And even that, the one has the best story going.
Yeah. But it's just not a real deep card otherwise.
Yeah.
So,
but are we, as Don likes to do we see anything crazy happening? Because I feel like
The only thing I could see happening as
yeah,
I'm looking down the card is I think LA Knight wins.
agreed.
I think Braun Breaker wins.
Agreed.
I think Nia wins and Tiffany cashes in on her.
I agree with half of that. I think Nia wins, but I think they'll stretch out the Tiffany cash-in idea further.
The only reason I say is because it's a major.
No, and I totally understand that. But I think they're going to want to, based on how quickly they burned the men's, I think they're going to have Stephanie. They're going to have Tiffany hold it for a while.
I think this is too soon for Gunther to have the shot because Damian hasn't held the belt long enough. I think the eventual is Gunther will win, but not this weekend. And I hate saying that because he deserves the title, but it's been too quick since Damian got it.
I think he does because if I remember correctly, when we were doing research, Damian, or as we affectionately know him as Big Lou, has held the belt the second longest of any Money in the Bank cash-in winner already. They're not long for holding the belt. And it's been a majority of the year at this point, or at least it feels that way.
And I love the videos he's doing with Caden Carter. Those make me giggle.
Yes. Did you see the one with Rhea that posted yesterday?
I haven't seen yesterday, no.
Okay. No, it was the same kind of setup. Rhea's there looking angry, and the over is the vocalization of like, okay, say less, I'm out.
Congratulations, Blair Davenport and Riley Osborne are married.
Odd couples are odd for a reason, but more.
And he was wearing the ring Tuesday night, so.
And if you want the Wayback Machine, Case Keenum just threw a touchdown to Cam Akers.
Is it
in the preseason
2014 again? Bad Blood is nearly sold out.
I think we know what the headliner for that's going to be.
Yeah. And, we talked about them bringing stuff back. You can bring that back. Just leave Beware of Dog in the archive. That's all I'm asking.
Oh, no. They're already repurposing that for our to-be Intercontinental Champion.
Oh.
But to clarify on this SummerSlam, the only two belts I don't see moving are Liv Morgan and Cody.
Cody, I would say, is definitely not going to move. Liv... There's definitely going to be some schmoz. There's a schmoz in that somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Kurt,
the interesting thing is you could tell that story with anybody turning from that group. Yeah.
Kurt Angle is going to be refereeing a boxing match in December 7th in the Bahamas. Have you seen this?
Yeah, I have.
Joe Giudice versus Antonio Sabato Jr.? Yep. I will tell you, we've been talking a little bit about a YouTube channel that I like called Wrestling with Regret.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where this came from. He found it. He found this pay-per-view event that was done in 1996 called, oh geez, hold on. I gotta say this right because I can't, I've never heard of it. But you have to watch this video because it's one of the most wheels off things I have ever seen in my entire life. It was recorded here in Dallas at the Sportatorium.
Okay.
It's called Bodyguards versus Bandits. That's your homework assignment.
Wait, I've heard this before.
Look it up on Wrestling with Regret.
Do you have the link readily available? Because you could put it in our comment section for Facebook.
Let me do this because you have not, I don't want to say you have not lived, but this is one of the most wheels off things I have seen in my time on this planet. And I'm putting it through to all of our socials in the chat. The review is 32 minutes long. There will be people in it that you recognize. And it is, oh man. Just
CWA.
Yeah, I can't. I don't. I'm not gonna. You just need to watch it because it starts off with him talking about something WWE did that I had forgotten about, and called the Raw Bowl. I had forgotten they had done this, and then he leads into what this thing is, and bat guano crazy. That's all you need to know.
For the record, I was just trying to look up what CWA stood for, and I feel like it's already wheels off, and I haven't seen an image or results yet.
Just go watch the Wrestling with Regret video. Don't read anything else.
But do you remember what CWA stands for, and does it play into the?
I don't.
Okay, I'm gonna go in the Wayback Machine for a second.
Okay.
Do you remember us seeing a movie? I don't know. If you'd kiss your thumb and thumbs up to somebody.
The greatness of Megaforce.
Do you remember the wardrobe choice for those actors that they represented a country?
Yes.
On their sleeve? Do you remember which country Tex, aka Dallas, represented?
The one patch that we went, oh, this is not aging well.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Is that what the C is for?
That's what the C stands for.
Oh, dear.
So that's why I was asking, and we're specifically not saying
it does not play into it, no.
So there is no Confederate flag. Got it.
Not that I can remember, but just go watch the Wrestling with Regret recap. I've never heard of this. I don't know what it was, and I don't know who found it, because his Patreons actually suggest stuff to him. Wherever this was dug up from. And he has the official pay-per-view feed, because when he plays clips, you see it from request. And I just, oh man, like it's you just watch it and then tell me when you did. Okay. That's your homework assignment this week. Only notes I have from WWE this week. From NXT, Meiko Satomura has announced she will retire in April of next year from the Japanese tour. I did love the hat and robe that they gave Cody. Mm-hmm. That was his dad's. I guess Damage Control is running face now.
See, that's my other problem is I don't know that you can say that, but part of that is we also can't understand 2/3 of them.
And 2 words, kids. Dexter Loomis. Wow. Like, just when you think this dude, like, we have always been fans of this man.
I'm not trying to steal somebody else's bit or gimmick, but he was very bouncy in the ring on Monday.
I mean, because I said to you when I first saw the teases, I was like, I don't think that hair's part of the mask. I think that's his hair. And we've been fan of the guy since he was Sam Shaw.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was Lupus at one point.
I don't remember that.
6'2", 239.
Yeah, that might be old numbers. That bro is 260 of muscle.
That man is 40.
Yeah.
And he took that mask off, and I was like, there is selling the bit, and then there's that. Like, he is all in and just take. And Sam Shaw is his real name. Samuel Robert Shaw.
That's another one. Oh, no, wait. That's on Raw next week. That's not on SummerSlam, is it?
What?
The 6-man tag.
Yeah, that's on Raw.
Yeah.
I was like, they just keep taking this thing to another level. And I love how they're telling the story, and I am fully here for it.
I appreciate them taking their time, but I feel like it has a distinct possibility to cascade very soon.
Let's move on to AEW. We want to send our best to Maria Kanellis. She will be undergoing surgery to remove a mass from her adrenal gland. That's why she's been off TV lately. I love the level of transparency she's showing, so people can be on this journey with her and to give awareness to what she's dealing with. And we're all big fans of both of the Canelli or the Canellises, whichever you prefer.
The Bennett's.
Apparently, Killswitch has injured his bicep, but he is working through it. That's right. They are the Bennetts, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Just the company chose not to use that name. They use the other name. Kip Sabian in a promo says he's back and better than ever. Is that gimmick infringement?
I'm not going to lie. I have no idea what you just said. I heard Kip and then everything was robot voice.
Kip Sabian says he's back and better than ever. Is that gimmick infringement?
Depends. They did have the same dye job on the hair, though.
So, and technically, we have a first this past Saturday night. As we have, for the first time ever on a Battle of Belts, have new champions. But it wasn't a transfer of championship. It was an awarding of championship, as Dustin and the Von Erichs are your new Ring of Honor 6-man tag champs, to the absolute surprise of no one.
With Kevin present.
Yes. On Dynamite, did you notice anything about MJF's entrance?
Are you referring to the color scheme?
Yes.
Yes, I did. Did you notice anything about the
red,
jacket?
white, and blue? See, I don't remember for sure. I was so enamored by, and they changed it to what's written on the belt is now on the video. The fact that the Burberry was red, white, and blue, I laughed hysterically.
And then he during the segment destroyed the jacket.
And there was nothing witty on Paige's lower third at all. Just his name.
I think part of that is the fact that they're trying to be so serious with him. It's almost uncomfortable.
But he did come out of the face tunnel.
I don't think that's a thing anymore. Because if you look at it, Lance Archer, I don't know where he came out of, but there has been awkward, like, gray area crossover for where people are coming in and out of.
Ring of Honor, Frenchie now on the board of directors, air quotes.
Yeah.
And he narrated the cold open for tonight's episode.
I really like Paul White. I just don't know what he's doing right now.
He did the voiceover for the results from Death Before Dishonor, which I watched live in its entirety. 5 hours with 0 hour.
No, thank you.
Like, I texted you at 9:15 and I was like, we've got 3 more matches to go. And I'm still in a match right now, and they're all championship matches. That ran till 11 o'clock Central. Shout out to our boy Scott, who was in the front row. He was on camera side, but not TV side, but I saw him a couple of times.
Hey, that's where we prefer as well.
That thing ran till 11 Central. And it didn't need to.
Did you see the thing about... I know we're in wrestling talk or whatnot, but might be breaking news. Did you see the thing about Sunday Ticket and that lawsuit?
I did not.
So there is, crawling across the bottom right now, a federal judge has thrown out the antitrust ruling, stating that the jury did not have the bandwidth or the responsibility to level the $4.7 billion fine regarding the Sunday Ticket package.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
I may just be cynical, but I have a funny feeling that judge got a very large check donated to his cause.
I will neither confirm nor deny. The Texas death match with Diamante and Layla Hirsch was insane, but it started out real rough. Layla Hirsch came out with a chair, stopped on the ramp, waited for Diamante, and then it was this weird choreographed chair sword fight thing that just did not come off natural. Hirsch took a heck of a bump on her arm, but she is okay. You have a new pure champion in Lee Moriarty, which was a great match. And Wheeler Yuta actually put the title on him afterwards.
Nice.
Because
Blackpool's starting to run face again.
You have a new world's television champion in Red Velvet. Shane Taylor was injured. And Athena has now passed 600 days as women's champion.
Good.
Which I did not like the way that match ended at all.
No, you were very open about that. But at that same time, I feel like they're trying to figure out how to preserve talent that doesn't necessarily need preserving, while still keeping the belt on your best performer by far in Athena.
And no change in the world title, nor should there have been. But both of them did a great match. With Briscoe, of course, bleeding early. But it was, you had the attempted interference by the Kingdom, but then they were fended off by the conglomeration. So you didn't have the Kyle O'Reilly turn, which I'm okay with. Kind of let that man be his own man for a while. And on this week's episode, we meet, oh God, I just lost his name. Who's one half of the Workhorsemen? Not
JD Drake.
The other one. Nathan. It's Nathan.
Oh my God, why am I drawing a blank?
Anthony Henry.
Okay, yeah.
We meet his second cousin, and his name is Beef. And the entire promo was really, hey man, I came to wish you luck. Are we on the TV? And he has beef tattooed on his stomach, and he shows that. So you got that happening. And now there was the question asked this week of Tony Khan of rebranding Ring of Honor as AEW ROH, which I just let it be its own thing.
They don't have enough to make it its own thing. That's the real problem right now.
Just do like you like WCW used to do, and you did for a while. Do like 6 weeks worth of taping at Universal and be done with it. And let it be its own thing, and let AEW be its own thing, and then everything's happy. I'm just saying. Anything else you want to talk about?
Well, we also would be remiss if we didn't address the picture that everybody has been discussing that has occurred in Arlington. The photo of one Shane McMahon meeting with Tony Khan. Now, if I may,
please do.
I don't think this is news. This is the exact same thing that we have talked about.
Run sheet.
What's that?
That's why I didn't put it on the run sheet.
But I've had multiple people asking about it with the picture being like, are you sure? And it's like, look, I have said until I was blue in the face, and I will continue to say whenever somebody asks, no, I do not foresee Shane McMahon being an on-air talent for AEW ever. If anything, this is entirely about the relationships in Asia that Shane McMahon has made over many years of actual business dealings. Because the WWE already has a stranglehold on India as the largest or second largest, depending on which census you believe, country on the planet, they are looking to leverage Shane McMahon's China relationships, if anything, to try and grab the first or second largest country, depending on which census you look at. And if with those exact same aspects, it's much easier to go from China to Russia than it is to try and break into a country that's already completely dedicated to WWE and expand from there.
And they both said it was purely for the clicks. And Mercedes Moné says she took the picture. That's what I got. Do
you want to mention that headline from today?
Oh, yeah, that she and her husband are no more. They are divorced.
They filed, but we've often said our own opinions that are not judgmental, but beliefs in that same scope. And do you think her ring gear is about to get a lot worse?
I don't know. AEW's got some good seamstresses type people.
Right, but I believe he is the primary.
I'm sure he is. No, or at least was up until.
Yeah, that's also fair.
Anything else?
Nope, I think we got the bases covered.
All right. Over there. Nope, over there. It's the wrong thing. I'm going to figure this out. That is, if you're watching the video, hit that QR code for all of our social media. If you're on the audio feed, first of all, thank you, whether you're on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify or Amazon Music. We appreciate you very, very much. Visit our website, the aforementioned www.theclubhousepodcast.com. Find out everything you need to know and some stuff you don't. You can follow me on your social medias if you like. Everything is Yes That Rob Irvin. That is spelled ERVIN. Officially for the show. Everything outside of Twitter and Twitter and TikTok are the Clubhouse Podcast. Those two are Clubhouse Show.
Now, if you go to Linktree and look up the Clubhouse podcast, you'll be able to find what we are referencing in that QR code if you do not have the visual. But if you are on the visual, you can just go ahead and scan that QR code. It'll take you to all of our links, including the one that you see scrolling across the bottom, which is prowrestlingtees.com/thecheappopcast. Got a lot of different shirt options, a lot of different color options within those shirt designs. If you happen to be an artist, have designs you'd like to share, or ideas on what you'd like to see on the store, you can reach out to me at alex@theclubhousepodcast.com.
The official fact checker for Sooner Gator Productions, who will be back next week, is Don Ford. You can follow him on Twitter at Igbunu, IGBUNUUU. Alex is showing you that great URL for prowrestlingtees.com/thecheappopcast. You can email Don about us coming and doing a remote show for you. We just did one at the Asian Film Festival of Dallas, had a great time. You can email him, Don@theclubhousepodcast.com. You can email me questions, comments, concerns. Tell me to go pound sand. I am Rob@theclubhousepodcast.com. Charlotte Marshall is on Pinterest because we are morally obligated to say that. Our normal show every Thursday night live on Facebook Live, on YouTube, and on Twitch starts at 8 o'clock Eastern. 5 o'clock Pacific, and we will be back next week, 4 in a row. And I'm looking at the calendar for August, and I don't see any reason for us to cancel any shows. So we just got to make some plans on how we're going to handle the football preview. So until next time, for Alex, for Don, for the Empire, I'm Rob. Clubhouse is closed. Brittany Palmer's got a lot of content coming out lately. She's doing all kinds of photo shoots and stuff. So make sure you're following her. I've got the wrong brand up, so I have to fix that. There we go.